Fantastic. We're the most professional.
We're really doing it.
Welcome to the Q&A, Mid-Season Q&A, hosted by me, your tormentor and best friend, and moderated by the best audio engineer in the business, best composer ever, Jay Stratman.
Whoa. Oh my God. Thank you.
The show would not exist without Jay. I cannot overstate this enough. Eternally grateful to their contributions. Very grateful that they are moderating, so I don't have to talk to myself for however long this goes.
You're doing great.
Thank you. I try.
Well, are you ready for me to lob a question at you?
Always.
Okay.
Always.
Let's start soft. Let's start soft here.
Sure.
Ray asks, among a few other questions that I do have highlighted in this doc, what inspires you the most? Music, real life things, other media?
Ooh, I definitely would say other media. This will not surprise anyone, but I definitely got my start in writing from fan fiction. I find myself very comfortable playing around with the sandbox that already exists. I can't consume content in a normal way. A lot of the times I find myself sitting down and watching something and wanting to do things to it, like seeing concepts that I find incredibly interesting and wanting to do more with it than what's just present on the screen or in the book or whatever. A great example is something like Star Wars, right? The dream would be to be a Star Wars IP writer because the sandbox is so cool. But I just kind of take inspiration from all the things that I enjoy and I just thrust them into my thing.
Are you willing to share what your first fan fiction, like what IP it was for?
Oh God, what was it for? It was probably like Supernatural or something.
Classic.
Yeah, like 2013 classic. That was definitely that.
Okay, well, a sort of follow-up question to that might be bisexual disaster in arms, is how you would say that.
Oh, Jenna
asks, what's your process like? Did you write out the entire first half of the season before you started recording/sending scripts to VAs, or were you recording as you finished writing each ep?
So I did write the entire first half of the season before we started recording anything, but I did start other elements of production while I was writing. I think I hired Jay on when I was still a few scripts shy of being done with the first half of the season. I started casting, I think, when I was just about done with writing the first 10 episodes. Fun tot lore is that I work full time and I'm also in school. So it was really important to me to have a buffer in order to, just not feel like I was pushing myself to have these scripts done week by week. I am eternally impressed by podcasters who can write and produce and edit their podcasts week by week. Dylan Wobegon. But I can't do that. And I also didn't want to put so much strain on Jay, who was also touring a lot, like during the time that they were doing a lot of the editing for the podcast. So I was like, I'm going to have these scripts done and then we'll start production. And that's how it's going to go for the second half of the season as well. I'm currently on episode 14. And then once I'm done writing through episode 20, then we'll resume normal production. And getting the VAs their lines.
I'm very stoked on that. I miss it. I can't believe we're at the mid-season finale already.
I know. It's been 5 months of releasing.
I reject that. That's not true. It's been 2 weeks. Okay, I want to dig a little bit more into the actual production of this specific show. So A Pretty Girl's Bat asked, how do you feel using a single player TTRPG to guide the plot of your story has motivated or curbed your vision for the story? Has it become more of an aid than a nuisance?
Oh, I love it. Like I said, I really flourished as a writer with kind of that structure. And that's really what I found solo TTRPGs to be good at, is providing you with a guided writing experience. I had played a few different solo TTRPGs before I landed on Welcome to the Habit Trails, and I loved the world of the game so much that I wanted to make something out of it. Prior to that, I'd kind of had the idea in my head, but I had never really committed to making it. But this really propelled me to do that and just gave me the tool set that I needed in order to make something like this. The way that it works is I play the whole game and then I just write the narrative based on the gameplay. So it was easy to have a clear idea of where the story was going, what beats I need to hit. And of course, it's been really exciting to have, Aoland aware of the project from its inception, and for people who have played the game to get a little bit more depth out of it, with kind of insight into what might be happening in each episode based on the episode titles.
That's awesome. I don't know if you're willing to reveal this, but the question has been asked by Kenny. What other TTRPGs do you have in mind for later seasons of Soul Operator?
I have a couple different ones in mind. I feel like I can share this with you guys. You guys are my friends, we're all close here. We're all friends here. My plan for season 2 is Outliers by Sam Lay, who I adore. Phenomenal game designer. If you guys haven't played any of their games, they're just incredible. Also very sweet. They also review a lot of games, and I got to meet them along with Jay in person at Breakout Con in Toronto, and that was a great time. But yeah, so it'll be a different vibe than what we've currently got going on in season 1. But, that's all I'm going to say, I think. That's what we're really like that.
This is a question from me and hasn't been asked, but have you played a solo TTRPG that you've loved that you're like, I can't translate this to a podcast, but I just love the game?
Yes, there is one. Oh God, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but the concept was essentially that you're a princess and you're going through these different tests. And by the end of it, you reach kind of this. A lot of solo games are like this, where by the end of it, you're kind of faced with who you were at the beginning of the game. Sweaters by Hedgehog. Yeah. Sweaters by Hedgehog. Great game brought up by Lewis. But I feel like something like that is almost too structured, and it would essentially just be me talking into a mic. The great thing about Welcome to the Habit Trails was that the game in and of itself prompted you to create additional characters and NPCs, for lack of a better word. So it gave me an opportunity to have kind of a fuller cast for season 1, which was really, really nice. I'm definitely gonna stay away from games that are just me, I think, or like that don't give me the space to kind of expand upon the narrative of the world.
Yeah. That makes sense. There's so much magic when there's a whole cast involved that, yeah, I feel like that's super important. Cool. Elle asks, what was the episode that you were most excited to see people's reactions to? I don't know your answer to this, but I'm curious if it's the same as mine.
I mean, I think for me, I think it was actually episode 5.
Same.
Okay. Because I was like, this is the first episode where something is happening. This is setting the tone for the rest of these 10 episodes. So however people react to this episode is what I have to look forward to the next several intense ones.
I also liked that the previous 4 episodes had been like between 15 to 25 minutes. And then episode 5 comes in, it's like 9.5 minutes. It's like, I could just imagine seeing that drop in the feed and being like, something happens. Something bad is going to happen. And it's over quickly.
Sent me that. Yeah, I had people be like, hey, this episode's really short. What happened?
It's probably fine.
It's probably fine.
Sure, there's nothing to worry about.
No. I mean, that episode was exciting for you in particular. Do you want to tell the story of editing that episode?
This was the episode I think I edited the most when I was on tour, and we were driving mostly around Germany. And I just spent a lot of time in the tour van listening to Tessa die over and over and over, to the point where my band members like checked in on me, because like we would go like 8-hour drive days and I would just be like harrowed in the backseat, like looking at my computer, just like focusing on the part where she dies. Like I listened to that bit maybe, I don't know, 50 times over the course of like 10 days. I was changed. I was really messed up after that.
I felt so bad.
It was really good. I think for me, it kind of set the tone of like what the rest of, because this is a little peek behind my screen is that I did each episode. I like read the script and edited it as I went, and I didn't read ahead. So each episode was kind of a new little discovery for me. And when that happened, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Surprise!
This question might piggyback off of that, but Pancake asks, what scene was the most fun to put together in terms of acting, editing, or just like generally a good time?
From my end, I always have a fun time. Anytime Tessa is flustered about anything, anytime she is like near Nate and Anisha, I was having the best time of my life. I really like that a lot of people kind of clung to that little aspect of her. I love that. You know, the show's very intense. A lot of stuff happens. I like that there's something kind of silly for people to cling on to. So I really liked in episode 5, where it's just Tessa and Anisha talking on the walkie. She's just being a dork. That was so good.
Did you do any of those reads with the other actors?
I did a lot of read through with Mike LeBeau, who plays Nate. I didn't record any of my lines, but he recorded his lines, and I was just kind of there for him to work off of. And that was a really, really good time. I think I also did some with Michael, and I also don't think I recorded my lines at that point because when I was doing the live readings, I was sitting here at my desk and I do my recording in my closet, which is not the most conducive to table reads and stuff like that. Maybe in the future, I can actually do it now that I have kind of a better mic setup and I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit more. But this isn't exactly like the best sound treated space. It's very wide. Not a lot of closed doors here. Yeah, the studio closet is pretty baller, as AJ says.
You do what you can with what you got. That reminded me, can we reveal, I feel like you'll know what I'm talking about, when Mike LeBeau sent his takes for him crying over the body. I don't know if you remember this when he sent me the like just the audio for that because he did it separately. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea. You go.
This is piggybacking off of like what was a scene that was very fun to put together. But I got all of Mike LeBeau's crying takes over the body separately, and he usually opens his audio files with like, "Hey editor, like here's me doing this." But when I got that take, he said, "Hey editor," and then he like laughed for a second, and then he's like, "It's my birthday today."
Oh yeah.
And then he gave me just the most devastating crying takes. I
do remember
Jesus Christ.
I do remember that. Oh no. Mike, I'm so sorry. He didn't have to. Guys, I did not make him record this on his birthday. I need to be so clear. He chose to do that.
Oh, it really made me laugh. And then it made me devastated.
Oh, sorry, Mike. I did meet Mike in person when I visited the UK recently. He's absolutely lovely. Great guy. I'm so sorry that I make him cry so much in the show.
Ray asks, what is the weirdest thing you've had to Google or research while making this podcast?
How long does it take a broken leg to heal?
Oh, what is the answer?
You'll find out.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it was like it depends on the severity of the break, if it's a hairline fracture or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
did it give the answer in episode lengths or in days?
Yeah, it'll come to pass over the course of episodes, is what I'll say.
Okay, I'm going to read this question exactly how it was written.
Good.
Bisexual Disaster in Arms makes another appearance asking, wait. In episode 10, did Tessa get attacked by or encounter the creature that Miss Maria was describing in episode 3?
What an interesting question, Jenna. It could be that creature. Could be a different creature entirely. Who's to say, I think, is the best answer to that question. Who's to say?
Who's to say? Go back and listen. You'll see it.
You'll see it. Yeah, the visual medium of the podcast is really coming through in this.
All right, I'm going to throw to myself because
yes.
I've been given permission to do so.
Absolutely.
Actually, let's both answer this because Bisexual Disaster in Arms, you are you are MVP right now. Do you have a favorite sound effect or sound effects from the first half of the season? If you have an answer to this, I'd love to hear it, but otherwise I can throw to myself.
I mean, I love like the house, just how creaky and like echoey kind of that you've made the home that Tessa's in. I think it really adds to just the vibe. But, you know, I can't pick a favorite of your sound design. It's all so good. So you should take this question, I think.
I had a lot of fun with the end of episode 7 with the walkie-talkie malfunctioning in quotation marks because I recorded all the lines where there was like something trying to speak in a sort of messed up way. I recorded all the lines backwards and then reversed them. So that was fun to kind of puzzle that one together.
Oh my God. I didn't even know that. That's so cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
I think for like, because I said the word Nate a lot and backwards it was like Sneed and I kept, anyway, and I recorded myself. I like said the words eyes in the fog, reversed it, copied it, recorded it, reversed it. And then there's a little bit of that in there. Anyway. I also did a little whisper take over Michael's voice in the last episode 10, where he's like talking to you from beyond. And I tried it with my regular voice and it didn't work, so I did have to do it with an accent. So my take sounds it just sounds quite clearly like I'm doing a bad version of the accent, but I think it works in context. So
I would not have noticed at all. That's so good. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was fun. I had a ton of fun.
The things Jay does for this podcast.
Addie Nofall asks, who is the best character and why is it Anisha?
I mean, it is Anisha. Like I love her so much. I'm in love with her. Totally not biased to Addie at all. I don't know. When I was coming up with all the characters and making the casting sheets for all of them, one of the touchstones for Anisha is Inej from The Six of Crows. And I love that character as well. I feel like I just kind of put together the perfect woman and then handed it to Addie, who has played Anisha so well. I'm so excited for what she has coming up in the next 10 episodes because it's so good. And I'm so excited for Addie to record it.
Oh, Addie's so great.
Addie's
so great. Doodles asks, will there be any canon polycule or QPR? I don't know what that means at some point.
That is queer platonic relationships. So thank you. You know, that's a great question. I will neither confirm nor deny the how do I want to say this? Whether or not characters are happily together in a relationship at the end of this season is not guaranteed. However, that does not mean that characters are not interested in each other or that conversations will not be had, feelings exchanged, so on and so forth. I think it's really important to create a space for relationships that aren't the societal norm, not just monogamous, cishet relationships. I really want to explore a variety of different types of relationships over the course of the entire show. And this season is definitely a place where those types of relationships can be found, if you catch my drift.
I think I do.
I think you do.
I think I do.
Listen, there's no point in queer coding if everyone is queer. Thank you, Gail. It's not burying your gays if you're burying everyone.
That's just it.
You know, podcasting in and of itself is such a queer space. I have no interest in queer baiting people. If I'm setting kind of the foundations for something, more than likely it's going to be canon in the show.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We love to see it. Bisexual Disaster in Arms asks, who cheats on game night?
Dean.
Yeah.
Dean cheats on game night. What do you mean? Dean, I'm going to break into your house, Sutter. Yeah, yeah. Austin's not invited to game night, Gail.
Lou asks, what surprises were there with translating the RPG to the audio drama?
When I write, I find that I write with a lot of prose. And something that I had to contend with was figuring out if prose sounds good while read aloud. Because sometimes things just sound better in your head when you're reading them off a page versus actually having to say the words. There were definitely plenty of times where I had to kind of edit the script to be a little less I can't even think of the word. Not pompous. It's the other P word.
Pretentious?
Pretentious. Thank you. Just like, because there's definitely prose in the show, but I need you guys to understand that in my own personal writing, it's a lot more prose than this.
In scenes where it's heavy prose with like any podcast, I kind of imagine it as the person has like written down an entry and they're like reading it to the, you know what I mean? So it's like pre-thought of, so it doesn't feel like off the cuff. Because I feel like off the cuff prose is the hardest to make feel natural.
Yeah, how do I sell this?
I mean, you're doing something right.
I'm doing something right. It helps that all of Tessa's prose is like when she's by herself talking to the recorder. So she's not having to say all of this stuff in front of other people, which I think makes it a little bit realistic.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a good time to open up to any questions in chat. Do you guys have any questions off the cuff that you'd like myself or Jay, or maybe someone in the cast? We still got Michael here and Dan and Gail. What's Lucy's favorite food? Oh God, Lucy's favorite food. I imagine there is like canned dog food around. Like they found her like some good quality wet food for dogs. Yeah.
There's no animals in this place.
No, none.
There is canned dog food.
Well, you know, you got to make do with what you find.
Gotcha. What does that mean?
Sometimes if you can't find any other food, that's all I'm saying. A huge part of Welcome to the Habit Trails is the scavenging element. And I've kind of circumvented that by having the community garden and like, you know, the neighborhood and stuff like that. But there is kind of a wider scavenging element to the game that I haven't really explored at all.
I actually have a question because I didn't want to read Welcome to the Habit Trails until this part of the season was done because I wanted my perspective of this to not have like a shared language just in case other people didn't know the game. So I'm curious, like, does the game include you showing up in this place without memories, or was that you writing that in?
Yeah, the game opens with you not remembering anything. The way that you start the game is that you write out like who you were, and then you have nothing. The reclamation of memories is something that I added in. I think. Cool. I have to look back. I think that was me. I think I made that up. If not, good on you, Aeland. if yes, good on me. Yeah. You do start out with nothing and you're just kind of in this place. The game really leaned in on kind of the isolation that you feel during peak pandemic when we were all, you know, trapped in our houses, and it was very much written with that setting in mind. So that was really interesting to write off of because we all went through that, and it really is such a good game for exploring kind of feelings that might still be unresolved as a result of this mass traumatic event that we all went through.
And how. Lewis asks, what was the most challenging thing about this whole process, both ideation and production?
Affording everything.
Oh my God, so real.
Because really, I gotta say, guys, I lucked out with my cast and my Jay over here, and the people around me have always been incredibly supportive of the show and my work. So really, it's been affording production and also just writing. Finding the time to write that second half of the season has been incredibly challenging. There is going to be a pretty lengthy hiatus. I don't want to put like a time on when the show's gonna be releasing again, but I definitely want to get my side of production done by like July, August, early August at the latest, because I do get some time off of school, so that'll also be good. They don't tell you how hard writing is.
Gail says writing is the hardest part of writing.
Gail, you are so right.
You are dead on with that.
Yep.
Okay, I'm seeing some complaints about needing some money to send to people's therapists in the chat.
Well, yeah, sorry.
Which is valid. But
I just said I don't have money, guys. I can't do that.
What else in here excites you, Tot?
Oh, I mean, Michael's question of if I had to write a Soul Operator AU fic, what would the plot be?
This is such a huge question. That's
This is
why
a
I
huge
was like,
question.
if you want to take it, take it.
I mean, if I wanted to put these characters in specific anywhere, I think this also goes along with another question that I saw in the doc. Someone asked what the thruple would go as to a con for their costumes. I want to take all these characters and just put them in the Power Rangers universe. I think that would be the best. Tessa would be the Yellow Ranger. I think Nate, of course, would be the Red Ranger. I think Anisha would be the Blue Ranger. Dean, please record the Power Rangers episode. I think Dean would like come in from behind and be the Green Ranger. Connie Pink Ranger. She has to be. She's just so yeah. So that's what I would do if I had the time to write an AU fic for my own characters.
I feel woefully underknowledged about Power Rangers in this moment.
Oh, don't worry. AJ will fix you.
Okay, AJ, let's talk.
AJ will fix you.
Let's see.
Which character says cereal is soup? I think Hen says cereal is soup. And you guys haven't even met them yet. Really?
What are each member of the thruple's favorite pizza toppings, and would they fight over what toppings they could get if they could get pizza delivery? Follow-up question, could there be pizza delivery in the Habit Trails?
Only if someone starts making pizza. If someone in the neighborhood wanted to start making pizza, sure, there could be. Why not? As far as toppings go, this is where I am both woefully misinformed or underinformed because I only like cheese on my pizza. So I don't actually know what people get on their pizzas.
Wait, hang on a sec. Hey, we just have to stop the Q&A really quick. I need to talk to Tot really quick. Tot, can you meet me in the other room for a second?
Yeah, in the other room, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. This is my dark secret. I only like cheese on my pizza.
Do you like extra cheese? Like, are we getting funky with the cheese? Are you just like a regular amount of cheese? All right. Hey, my mom's here to pick me up. I gotta go.
Wow. Jesus Christ. What do you mean that checks out, TBH, Ray? What do you mean that this checks out? What are you saying about me right now? Do I give off cheese pizza enjoyer vibes? What?
Okay.
I can't believe this is what I'm being attacked for. I put Tessa through so much, and I'm being attacked for the fact that I only like cheese on my pizza.
No, this makes sense to me. Yeah. No, this is good. I actually just saw a question that I didn't see in the doc before, so I'm going to lob it at you. Ray asks, were there any general fan responses to a character or plot point that you weren't expecting?
Oh, no?
Nice. That's interesting too.
I mean, I really got what I wanted out of each episode.
Nice.
Actually, no, there is something, and this is actually me helping you guys out a little bit, I think. When Tessa gets attacked in episode 2 and someone tries to break into her house, a lot of people thought that the guy that attacks her didn't have a face. It was the mask that didn't have a face. The guy had a mask on. He has a face. I promise he has so many people were like, it doesn't have a face. It's a faceless thing. And I'm like, wait, hold on, guys. No. It was a monster. It was just a guy.
Okay. This is maybe not the best thing to admit in this moment, but
oh no. Are you one of those guys?
I also thought that. And I never talked to you about it. And I was just like, this is the way that it is.
Because I'm like, I'm so sure that Tessa said that he was wearing a mask.
You did.
I'm so sure.
You 100% you did. And when I'm replaying it in my mind, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. But like, I think it's such a scary moment that you could have said anything and I would have been like, yeah, I believe it.
So that's what surprised me. I was not expecting people to think that whoever this is didn't have a face.
Good to know. For me, the editor
For everyone,
of the
I
show.
guess, for a lot of people, I suppose.
Everybody in the chat who thought that, I'm with you, and you are valid. And we will be billing you top for this misunderstanding.
Again. Oh no. Yeah.
Bisexual Disaster in Arms asks, if exploring beyond the fences, how many cans of beans should one carry on them in the interests of health and safety?
I mean, you gotta have at least one to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
One as a weapon, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend tying a string to it so that you can like whack someone with it.
Oh, lasso, kind of?
Yeah. And just a third one just to have, you know. And if you're bringing Lucy along, you know, Lucy's got to have something to eat. And if you don't have any dog food on you, a can of beans works wonders. So I would say at least 3 for posterity.
Emotional support beans in the chat is really funny. All right. Do you want me to set you up for a final question here?
Yeah, I think, you know, we're coming up on an hour here, guys. This has been great. Thank you so much, Jay, for moderating. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And if you have more questions, you are more than welcome to continue leaving them in the mid-season finale channel. And maybe I will do a little typey answering questions at some point. But, you know, we'll see.
All right. Final question for you, which I think is a nice way to like shout out some other stuff because I know you're an avid listener as well.
Avid.
Beanie asks, if the characters listened to audio dramas / podcasts, which ones would they be fans of?
I have so many thoughts immediately off the bat. Tessa would be a Red Valley enjoyer.
Ooh.
Because there is a character, Gordon, in Red Valley. I think Gordon and Tessa would get along really well because they're both conspiratorial, trust nothing. You know, everything is suspicious. Got to get to the bottom of it. Got to be to the truth, you know? I think Anisha would be a Camlan enjoyer. If you guys haven't listened to Camlan is fantastic. Highly recommend Camlan. A very, 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 very good show. I think Nate is an actual play guy. I think Nate would listen to Planet Arcana.
Hey, I know that show.
Which is a fantastic podcast, actual play. We don't know anyone affiliated with Planet Arcana, of course. But if we did, we would be
But if we did and they were
here,
you should say nice things about it.
Yeah. Austin would listen to The Grotto for sure. Dean would be a paddle boat guy. I don't think a lot of people have listened to Paddle Boat. It's a very, very good microfiction show that I think just finished its first season. Every episode is like maximum 3 minutes. It's very, very good.
Whoa.
I think Connie would love Desert Skies, which is a very sweet show for those of you that need a break from the horror and the terror. Desert Skies is the place to go. You know, there's this John Michael guy who I think would really like a show called Woebegone.
Do you think he'd get a nosebleed if he listened to it?
Maybe. You know, I think it'd be a little weird hearing such similar voices to his own, but I feel like some kind of paradox rift would open up. But there's, you know, already so many of him in that show that it probably would be fine. I don't think Sandra listens to podcasts. I think she puts on like one of those old-timey comedy specials that would play on the radio.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that's what Sandra's all about.
I love that.
Jenny is a White Vault enjoyer. If you guys haven't listened to the White Vault, fantastic show. Liam is a Hotel Daydream enjoyer, I would say. Hotel Daydream is a great show that is done by good old Steven Kousler, a friend of the show. And features a lot of research. Steven does an insane amount of research for Hotel Daydream because it's all just multicultural, mythological mumbo jumbo, and it's fantastic.
Did you get Killian?
I think Killian would listen to Malevolent.
Yo, me and Killian we gotta chat.
We gotta chat, yeah. Any Malevolent enjoyers in the chat? Yeah, Killian would listen to Malevolent and get really wrapped up in the friendship between a eldritch deity and a guy.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? I think that's all of them.
All of the characters, you mean?
Yeah, no, all the podcasts. That's all the
Yes.
podcasts.
Unfortunately, we've named every podcast, so
Unfortunately, we've named every podcast. Oh, I think Hen. I think Hen would be a hello from the Hallowoods and Department of Variance. You guys don't know Hen, but what Faria listen to? And I imagine she listened to quite a few podcasts while going through med school. So I think she'd listen to a long one. I honestly think she would listen to No Sleep. That would just kind of be her go-to.
Holy yeah.
Which is long, so long. She would also listen to audiobooks. Absolutely, Gail.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, when you're an academic, sometimes you just need to have something going for hours and hours and hours. No Sleep is that show.
Yeah.
There's so much content on No Sleep.
Yeah. That got me through a lot of my day job that was like kind of menial tasks.
Yep. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming, everyone. Thank you again, Jay, for moderating. I hope you guys have enjoyed the first 10 episodes of Soul Operator, and I hope that you are looking forward to the next 10. If you would like to get early production updates, you can join the Patreon at the $1 tier. And if not, production updates will be posted incrementally on the Twitter and here in the Discord. If you'd like to have access to all the episodes ad-free, you can subscribe at the $5 tier. And there are a couple other tiers that have not quite been utilized yet. But if anyone is interested in them, they exist. Have a great rest of your Monday, folks. Have a great week. We will see you when we return.
Bye.
Bye.